welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between. Jackie's Sports Show, and you are tuning in to that very sports show a little later than 3 o'clock today because I got on a call with the boys over at Own Accord Pod, did a little live look at Leonard Taylor III. You are listening to this. It is out in video form on their podcast, Own Accord Podcast. If you can't find the YouTube channel, TikTok, Own Accord Pod. Link is there. And of course, follow those boys. Great fellas. Subscribe to the YouTube, whatever. We got a small little show. Going to talk some Monday Night Football, what happened last night in Corda, and very heavy college football show today. And as always, make sure you like, rate, and share the show. Much, much, much appreciate it. And if you need the rest, need to know where to follow me, need to know if you got an email. My voice just angers you. My appearance just angers you if you're watching the YouTube video. Hopefully the YouTube video works out this week. All that will be in the description, and all that will be described at the end of the show. Let's just hop straight into it. Monday Night Football. Bears beat the Vikings 12-10. Bears didn't score a single touchdown against Minnesota. I really hope the dogs quit barking. Bears did not score a single touchdown and ended up beating the Minnesota Vikings. Bad look for Minnesota. And let's talk about the Vikings first. I said it'd be cool Joshua Dobbs lead the Vikings to a playoff berth. It'd be a really cool storyline. As a Tennessee fan, you love to see it, but I think Joshua Dobbs got his confidence shaken against the Broncos last weekend, and I don't think that is going to recover. I think Joshua Dobbs is going to go back to who he is. I do think, though, that he did play well enough to earn a backup job in this league. I think it's objective that he played good enough to earn a backup job in this league. Is he a Jacoby Brissett? Is he a Teddy Bridgewater? Is he a Gardner Minshew? I don't think so. But he is good enough to be a very viable backup. For the Vikings, it really sucks for them because I see them winning two, maybe three more games. And what sucks about that is, they have the Bengals left, they have the Raiders left, they have the Lions twice, and they have the Packers. I believe that's their remaining schedule. And a couple of those games are very winnable. A couple aren't. The ones I'm talking about are against the Lions. Of course, whichever Lions team wants to show up. But what sucks about that is, depending on what Kirk Cousins wants to do, you're not going to be in a spot in the draft for one of those top quarterbacks. You're not going to get a Drake May. You're not going to get a Caleb Williams. You might get MPJ. You might get MPJ. MPJ might fall to you. I don't know how many times I can say that, but it's not a guarantee, especially with, we'll see how he does in his pro day. We'll see how he does in the combine if he, decides to go to the combine in the pro day. See what happens. He might fall to you, but it's not a guarantee. And of course, Kirk Cousins looking like he's going to leave. You might try to keep him around, but is he the long-term option when there's a couple quarterbacks in this draft that are going to be better than Kirk Cousins, most likely, hopefully? You know what I'm saying? I say hopefully. You don't love Kirk Cousins, but you want to root for the young guys. You're not going to be in a spot to get a big-time quarterback. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate you played this well. It's where, maybe Jaron Hall is that guy. I'm a big fan of letting the young QBs grow. So maybe Jaron Hall is that guy. But if he's not, you're in a very weird spot right now. For the Bears, the big story is Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields didn't play that great, and it looks like he lost them the game. 3rd and 10, run up the middle, fumble the ball. 4 minutes left, the Vikings got the ball, but luckily your defense stepped up, and you got another chance to go down and win the game, and that's what happened. And Justin Fields took them down to win the game, but he didn't play that great. And if you're a Bears fan, and I've said this in earlier podcasts, if you're a Bears fan and you're a Bears fan that believes in Justin Fields, because I know a lot of Bears fans don't believe in Justin Fields, is the ceiling of Justin Fields high enough to where you are comfortable passing on Drake May and on Caleb Williams? You got to have that honest conversation with yourself. Justin Fields has shown he can be a good quarterback in this league. He's shown that multiple times. But so do guys like Marcus Mariota. You know what I'm saying? So do guys like Gardner Minshew. They have flashes of like this guy can be a franchise guy, but is he really? Justin Fields' ceiling looks Lamar Jackson levels, but do you believe enough to where he can reach that ceiling? And do you believe enough in him? And do you think that Caleb Williams and Drake May's ceiling is either at that level or a little above that level to where you can justify passing on them? Because if you can't, if you look at the ceiling of Drake May or Caleb Williams and you're like, that's higher than Justin Fields, and they could maybe be a much better quarterback than Justin Fields, do you pass on them? And I'm saying this because the Bears organization doesn't seem to like Justin Fields. And again, Justin Fields just isn't that great right now. Could he be? Maybe. I have a 3-year limit. If you don't look like the guy after 3 years, mm, especially for guys like Malik Willis, Malik Willis hasn't really gotten that much better. So you can pretty much bail on him being a franchise quarterback. With Justin Fields, when he looked phenomenal to end last season, and he's looked great a couple times this season, you're like, okay, maybe. Like I said, can you really? Is Justin Fields good enough, and his potential good enough to where you can pass on Caleb Williams and Drake May? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they are, and I think Justin Fields is going to be in a different jersey because the Bears front office doesn't like him, and you have two almost generational quarterbacks. One definitely generational, should be. The other borderline in Drake May and Caleb Williams. So it's a very interesting spot that the Bears are in, and we'll see what happens. So let's talk college football. Mostly, we're going to talk about the college football coaching carousel that has happened, the couple moves that caught my eye. But before that, we're going to talk about James Madison because hallelujah, hallelujah, James Madison is in a bowl game. They're in a bowl game because not enough college football teams won 6 games to really fill out all the bowl games this season. Hallelujah. And I hope James Madison kicks the ever-loving piss out of whoever they play because I'm tired of hearing people like, oh, James Madison doesn't play a real team, oh, they're a weak team. Shut up. They won enough. It should not have taken this has shades of Cincinnati making the college football playoffs just because everybody else was losing. James Madison is in a bowl game. I hope they show out. I think they'll show out. And they should have already been a bowl game. It was so stupid not to let them in a bowl game. Let's talk about the coaching carousel that has happened in college football. Firstly, let's talk about we'll talk about less interesting to most interesting, in my opinion. There's been more, but these 3 caught my eye. Jeff Lebby has gone from Oklahoma offensive coordinator to Mississippi State head coach. Jeff Lebby has had 2 back-to-back top 10 offenses at Oklahoma. I almost said Oklahoma State, but at Oklahoma. And Mississippi State's offense was ranked 102nd in total offense this past season. So immediately you get a boost. You should, of course. You got to get the guys in there that will actually make plays for you. But I think this is a great hire, given an offensive coordinator who's a very good offensive coordinator, a very good offensive mind into the SEC. Of course, whatever it's worth, he is moving to the SEC. I guess he would have already been moving to the SEC, being that he was in Oklahoma. I think it's a great hire. We'll see what happens. Mississippi State is usually a decent little program, can make a run here to there, put out some great talent. You think of Dak Prescott, you think of Jeffrey Simmons. He was definitely Mississippi State. I know he was Mississippi, but Ole Miss, he was not Ole Miss. But good hire for Mississippi State. Mike, we'll do that last. Jonathan Smith going from Oregon State to Michigan State. Of course, Michigan State firing Mel Tucker for the incident. And Jonathan Smith has been at Oregon State since 2018, amassing a record. Did I use that properly? I think so. Of 34-5 with 2 bowl games, going 1-1 in those bowl games. And well, 3 bowl games because Oregon State made a bowl game this season, but of course, whatever. And you might look at that record, and I'm sorry for doing that. You might look at that record and think, 34-35. Is he that great of a coach? He inherited a football program that was, I believe, won 2, 3, and maybe 1 game in the past 3 seasons before he got there. And he had like a 3-win season the first year, but he's had a 10-win season. I believe they had 8, 9 wins this season. He's had great seasons the past couple seasons, and he was a great coach at Oregon State, building that Oregon State into a good team. So for Michigan State, it's a great hire. Great hire. Moving from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, that'll be a bit of a change. The Pac-12 is way more offensive minded, not a lot of defense gets played. And in the Big Ten, you got to face Penn State, you got to face Michigan, you got to face Ohio State. Iowa's got a great defense. You got a lot of great defenses in that. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's a great hire. I think it's a good hire for Michigan State. Moving on from, the incident, I think it's a good hire for Michigan State. Last one I want to talk about, Mike Elko, moving from Duke to Texas A&M. Now, I made a video about the possible quote-unquote Texas A&M hires, and they put up the Washington coach. They put up Dan Lanning from Oregon. They put up Dan Campbell in Detroit. They put up several names where I'm like, huh? Why? Why would they do that? And people are like, oh, it's the SEC. Oh, they got deep pockets. It's like, oh my God, dude, how spoiled. The further I dig into college football, the more and more I realize the SEC is so spoiled. They're so coddled. Such a coddled conference. Yes, you're the best. You're the best. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about everybody else. Don't worry about your record in bowl games. Don't worry about the fact that it's very, very top heavy and the rest of the conference is pretty much dog shit. Don't worry about that. Just like you're the best. You're the best. Everybody wants to be here. Everybody wants to be like you. Such a coddled fucking conference the SEC is. Jesus Christ. But saying that, I did say that Mike Elko was on that list and was probably the most likely. Mike Elko was a defensive coordinator at Texas A&M before moving to Duke. That makes a lot of sense. And Duke is a basketball school. He built Duke over the past 2 years to be a decent program. I believe back-to-back winning seasons. 7-5 and 9-4 this season, 16-9 total. Very good coach, did a lot of great things at Duke, but there's a ceiling you have at Duke because most of the attention is on the basketball. It's like at Vanderbilt. You remember when James Franklin was in Vanderbilt? That's a baseball school. The football team sucks. He made a decent little Vanderbilt team, but there was a ceiling because that school cares way more about education, and in terms of sports, they care more about baseball than they do football. So James Franklin left and now has made Penn State into what Penn State is, which Penn State isn't great, but, well, they're great, but they're not elite. You know what I'm saying? So this hiring makes a lot of sense to me. You get a guy who knows the Texas A&M system, if you want to say it, like knows the front office, been there before, and is a great hire. Great hire all around. Made Duke into a great program. You get a guy who's been there before, just repeating everything I just said, but it's a great hire. All around, I don't see a bad hire in terms of the college football coaching carousel yet. Of course, we'll see what happens. But in terms of Mississippi State landing Jeff Lebby, I think that's going to work out very well for them. Jonathan Smith going to Michigan State. He made Oregon State a very, very feared team in the Pac-12. So we'll see what happens at Michigan State. And Mike Elko is a great coach, and he was hitting his ceiling at Duke because the school cares more about basketball. So if he can make a great team out of a basketball school, imagine what he can do with a Texas A&M school that consistently has some of the best recruiting classes in the nation and is usually a pretty good team. Usually a real pain in the ass for guys like Alabama. We'll see. I think it'll be fun. That's it. That's the show. Didn't have a lot that caught my eye. So little quick, little 15-minute episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, go check out the Own Accord live I was on. We talked Leonard Taylor III, where he's gonna go, where we see. We also had a decent little chat before and after. Probably gonna go on there again. Hopefully they invite me back. I think I made a decent little impression. So go check that out on Accord Podcast. And of course, follow all the socials, Twitter, JJester615, the show's Twitter, at Jackie's Show. Go watch the video version on YouTube if you want the video version. It's just me sitting in my room, a messy room that I promise I'm going to clean up. But go do that. Follow the TikTok JackieBoySports, daily sports takes. Try to post 3, 4, 5 times a day on there. And questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want, email me, oldjackieboy1021@gmail.com. That is OLE JackieBoy1021@gmail.com. And if you need help spelling any of that, it's always in the description. And as always, make sure you like, share, and rate. And of course, follow and subscribe where you are. I much appreciate y'all tuning in. I love your face. Hopefully the video works. I swear to God, if the video doesn't work, I'm going to punch something. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.